I've realized as I framed my question that perhaps I'm trivializing what are some very important elements of this. And my sense is that this is part of a larger conversation about race and class and British traditions and the extent to which they're inclusive or exclusive. Presumably there's some important stuff being discussed here that maybe you could highlight.
I think you're absolutely right, John, and I mean, it is important not to trivialise it. I mean, unfortunately,
Yes.
The way it's being covered tends to be along the lines of he said, she said, what are the consequences? Whose side are you on? But I think you're absolutely right to highlight those issues, particularly of race. Where Meghan has made it pretty clear, it's a fairly shocking allegation to say that a member of the royal family was starting to ask her what sort of colour the baby was going to be. And you sort of wonder why they decided not to allow her firstborn child, her son, to have a title, which would be the normal course of events. Whether you believe it or not is not the question. There does appear to be more than an element of racism, and certainly in the coverage of her, there has been more than one reference to the fact that she's mixed race. And then, of course, as you say, there are the class issues. It's more about the nature of the institution. And that there are clearly traditions, there are legacies going back generations where you're not supposed to speak out, you're supposed to keep silent, and the picture that Meghan paints of the isolation that she felt, not being able to speak, not being able to be herself, I think does actually raise questions about the nature of our public institutions, and are we as tolerant, are we as modern in the UK as we sometimes like to believe?
News,
experts,
analysis,
where things stand.
What you need to know. Drive home with John Perlman
On 702.